What's up? Welcome to the 5 things every accountant does to earn more and work less. This applies equally to employees as well to entrepreneurial accountants. So we're going to cover the most important things that you need to be doing on a daily basis to increase your income while decreasing the number of hours that you work, which is why we seek raises, which is why we become entrepreneurs. So when I say make more money with working less hours, it's the fundamental reason that we do pretty much anything in the working space. So let's jump in. So number one is a superpower that every person has. It's just how good are you at fostering this superpower? And that superpower is your ability to focus. So one of my favorite expressions in life is that you can tell how much you love something by what you are willing to say no to. So for example, in the accounting space, if you are getting routinely distracted by shiny objects, things that are look really good on the surface, but then when you get into it, they don't feel so good. This is what's known as the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? So your buddy comes to you and they say, hey, have you heard about this crazy thing called crypto or cannabis accounting or, right, like this really specific thing? They're like, it's amazing. I'm making all this money and you gotta check it out. And you're like, oh, that sounds really good. And so the way the Dunning-Kruger effect works, just as a quick summary, right, there's uninformed optimism, right? So I'm gonna just, right, it's basically competence is on this side, competence is along the bottom, and confidence is on this side. So in other words, how much do you believe in something? And so the first time you hear about something, crypto's the way to go. You're like, this is amazing. And then you learn a little bit about it and you're like, this is actually really complicated. I don't really get this whole thing. And then what happens is you have this like long journey to go through to be able to get to a point in which you're very competent and now you are also very confident as well. So this is, the thing with this is if you keep bouncing back and forth between different opportunities, you tread water for your entire life. And accountants who make more by working less, they're ruthless with the things that they say no to. Don't get me wrong, they do job hop, but they don't change careers, right? Like they're not like, I'm gonna go and be a digital marketer now, I'm gonna go and be a coach now, I'm gonna go and be a crypto expert now, I'm gonna go and be a financial planner now. They stay very focused on their career path, and if I was to kind of like build on this, actually I'll build on it in another point later. So main one is be ruthless in what you say no to. Okay, so that's the very first point. Master focus. Second point, okay, this one might sound weird, but when you are very good at focusing, it's a prerequisite for mastery of a skill, right? So when you watch someone who's a master at a sport, they make it look so easy, right? You're like, oh my goodness, it's so, like, how are they so good at this? And so this is mastering an identity, but I call it mastering imposter syndrome. Now, why would I say master imposter syndrome? Well, the reason that I think you should master imposter syndrome is you have to understand that this is not simply this isn't a binary where you just go like, I am either 1,000,000% the person that I project myself to be, and you also can't have yourself paralyzed. It's not a binary, it's a spectrum, it's a range. So on one side, right, you've got like paralysis. You're paralyzed when you're over here. This is when you're like, I'm so afraid of being a liar because I'm actually not a fractional CFO, and I barely passed the QBO exam, and I'm not that person, right? And there's all sorts of reasons why we feel this way. But when you're all the way on that end of the spectrum, you don't end up doing anything. You're just stuck at all times. And this is terrible. However, the other end of the spectrum is just as bad, okay? So there's paralyzed and then there's delusion, right? And delusion is just another way of saying like fraud. you're a fraud when you're on all the way on the other side. Now, when I say delusion or fraud, there are people, there was someone for a while who was like, you don't need anything. You can have an accounting, bookkeeping, and tax firm, no certifications, no education. I'll educate you, or whatever, right? Like, and while technically it's true, it is delusional to suggest that you should have no base skill set when you get into an opportunity. It goes back to the first thing, the Dunning-Kruger. It's like, oh my God, people make a ton of money in accounting. And it's like, that guy's telling me I can make a ton of money. And then you get into it and it's like, and you just like crash really hard because you have no reason to actually be confident that you have the skill set for it. However, this other part here, right, is like, think about like Theranos with Elizabeth Holmes, the huge scandal where it was like, some people are just like, go, 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 we have to make it happen. And then it's at the expense of a lot of other people's health, lives, because we believe in these delusional people because they seem so sure of themselves, but they don't actually have evidence to back up who they are. The inverse of this is people who are paralyzed to do anything, right, to try anything, are just as bad because they make no progress, right? So it's like no progress for you, jail, or being considered a fraud, all the way on the other end of the spectrum. So what is the happy middle ground here? Okay, so the happy middle ground on this is, it is the whole reason that you want to earn more and work less is because you're dissatisfied with who you currently are. I like to work from like a basis of truth about identity. So you rightfully can acknowledge the reasons why you feel paralyzed. You know, I am feeling a little disappointed that I don't have enough experience when it comes to the more complicated accounting formulas and their application and how a business owner would consider them to be valuable. You know, I'm feeling a little lackluster in my understanding of the most recent tax law changes. And these are just admissions of why we feel like we're not who we say we are. And that's okay. But what we're doing is we want to make progress to the person that you are becoming. Okay? So when I say mastering imposter syndrome, it's just a recognition you're not who you want to be yet. Big surprise, right? Like, you've got a dream outcome of who you'd like to be and what you'd like to do and how you want to impact the world. The key is you can't let your lack of being that person today paralyze you, and you can't delude yourself into believing you are that person today when you have no evidence that you are in fact that person. But when every single day goes by, you study more of the tax law, you help your clients, you work on your communication skills, and we're going to cover these in a minute here, but like when you start to do all of that, your identity and your actions are now aligned with the person you're becoming, as opposed to pretending you are that person or being so paralyzed by the challenge of becoming that person you end up doing nothing at all. So again, that's how you literally master imposter syndrome. You don't just try and cure it because there is no cure. You just recognize that you want to become a better person. Big deal. No surprise there. If anything, compliment yourself for it. Okay, so that is the second thing they do. And these three ones to end with, you could easily say that they're specifically for entrepreneurs. This is usually how I say you can gauge whether or not you've had a successful day as an entrepreneur. And obviously we work with entrepreneurial accountants, but it's applicable to any entrepreneurial endeavor, but it's also true for employees. So these are the three things that you should be growing on a daily basis, and this is also how you combat imposter syndrome. Okay, so number 3 is you want to grow your skill set. Okay? People pay for value. Value is just a fancy way to say results. And so the results that you can provide, and look, I want to be clear, this is like saying arithmetic or math or being able to count or multiply or divide are not valuable. It's crazy to me that people would say this, but like when we say bookkeeping is the basis of being able to get to higher level skills. You can't just start up at, CFO up here without having the basics. Like you can't be Michael Jordan without knowing how to dribble the ball, right? Like you just can't. So this is not downplaying the importance of this. It's just saying it's one skill of many skills that we would want to be able to develop to increase how much money we can make with how many hours we work. And so you might start with bookkeeping, and I'm just going to stay on like the accounting track, right? And so you're going to maybe say like accounting, and surprise, bookkeeping and accounting have differences, right? And so then maybe you go, or maybe you do like payroll too, or you do some auxiliary learning of a similar service, and then you go, you know what, I'm actually going to kind of get into like controller status, and then I'm going to get into CFO status. And so you're constantly up-leveling your skills, because if you just stay down here, and I want to be clear, you can easily have a multi-million-dollar bookkeeping business. Like, I'll take that back. It's simple to have a multi-million-dollar bookkeeping business. It's not easy. It takes hard work, but you can stay in this. You can have this one skill, but the thing is you've got to develop so many other skills: how to market, how to sell, how to manage a team, how to lead people. And so depending on whether you're an employee or whether you're an entrepreneur, the skill tree that you're building changes. But this is how you would say, okay, I'm going to go through and I'm going to focus. I'm going to say no to these things. I'm going to recognize I can master imposter syndrome. And by leveling up my skill set, and you condense the time in which you do it. I mean, if you only spend, an hour a week, it'll take you a long time to get really good at anything. But if you do an hour a day, you've moved it up. You're going to accomplish it 7 times faster, right? So just know, again, like, speed is paramount to making this whole thing work. And I know that sometimes we got to make sacrifices, right? What you say no to. And it's like, I'm not going to watch Netflix for an hour today. I'm going to study what allows me to understand accounting better, as opposed to just being good at bookkeeping right now. Or I'm going to up-level my skills as an entrepreneur, and I'm going to go into learning how to have a sales conversation the right way, or I'm going to learn how to use social media the right way, or I'm going to learn how to use paid advertising, or whatever the case may be. And so this is, again, different skill set depending on what your end goal is, but that's what you're focused on. If you're like, I love my job, or I love being an employee, I like the safety of it, and that's cool, just to say, like, right, like, it's totally great value proposition is to be a high-value employee, but I want to make more, and I don't want to have to work more hours. Fine. You got to level up your skill set. However, there is also an alternative. Okay? So normally when we get into growing your skill set, this is where people will go, meh, but that's hard. Right. Not everyone does it. That's why there's less fractional CFOs than there are bookkeepers. That's why there are less entrepreneurs than there are successful entrepreneurs, definitely, than there are entrepreneurs, and less entrepreneurs than there are employees. They're all hard. But to get over that, you have to grow your mindset, okay? What goes on in between the ears determines what we do. And there's a couple of things that I help our clients with that I'll share with you to get them through imposter syndrome. I covered one of them already. I am this, and they're true statements, but they're not paralyzing statements. We're asking meaningful questions from like, I am this, how do I get better at this, right? I feel like I'm really not that great at sales. However, what are the best ways for me to turn this into a process that makes me feel really good, that I'm like educating someone and I'm not a used car salesman? Okay, right? Like now we can build off of that. So you don't want to make statements that are just like, I am bad this, and then stop. You want to continue beyond those, because that's literally changing how you're thinking about it, which means you're going to change how you act about it. Nobody wants to talk to a business owner, or even in a salary negotiations as an employee, when they're like, I am really not worth this. It's like, maybe I wasn't worth this a few months ago, but I can look at the body of evidence of all the things I've done and say, I'm worth more than this now. It's going on up here, but it's not delusion either, right? You're not just like, I did the same thing exactly the same way for the last 12 months. I deserve a 2x bonus, right? You're like, that doesn't make, nothing changed. There's no progress here. So when you grow your mindset, it's important that you are surrounding yourself with people who see the greatness in you. One of the biggest problems people have is that people want you to stay the same, because same is familiar, it's comfortable, and there is no comfort in growth, there is no growth in comfort. So if you're looking to grow your income, oftentimes what you're looking to do is get surrounded by people who want to do the same thing and support you and see the greatness in you when sometimes you struggle to see it yourself. If you've got a great support staff around, or great supporting cast around you, family, friends, co-workers, amazing. If you don't give them a whole lot of credence up here, right? Like, don't necessarily do that. So you grow your mindset by just making sure that your beliefs are aligning with what you want in the future. And if you're believing something that doesn't serve the future you want to have, stop believing it. That's the easiest way to do it. Okay, so that was actually number 4, just to be clear. I forgot to change the number over here when I changed the back piece here. So number 4 again is grow your mindset. And the 5th and final one is going to be what I would consider to be the exponent, especially for entrepreneurs, but even for high value employees. And so this is growing your, actually let me just change this over here first. This is number 5. Number 5 is grow your network, okay? But Tyler, I'm an introvert. So am I. Nobody believes me when I say that, but I am actually painfully introverted. Like, if given the choice between like going out, party, networking event, let me just curl up with a book. Those things like make me like I don't like them. However, that doesn't stop me from growing the size of my network, okay? There's an old saying that is wrong, which is your net worth is the size of your network. The size of your net worth is based on the quality of your network. Okay? So it's not, I'm a big fan of quality over quantity. Okay? So when you are looking to, let's say, stay on the employee side for a second. Networking is being a good team member, knowing your roles and responsibilities and communicating them effectively to your boss. Maybe just letting your immediate network of friends, family, and colleagues know that your firm is looking for additional clients that meet these parameters. It's right, like, hey, do you know anyone who does this, this, and this? And then you bring business into the firm, and now all of a sudden they're going, you're capable of that. You don't even have to do it all the time. It's just like, you brought in that high-value client. You made the introduction. Simply by just being willing to have some small conversations. I'm not saying like you got to go live on social media. I'm not saying you got to like blast everyone, you know, go to the networking events and like get really good at that. I mean, sure, it's a skill set. You could develop it. It's certainly possible. But the network pieces, you've already got one. You just got to make sure that you're leveraging it and making sure that they know that you're constantly improving, that you're supporting them. You're thinking of them first. You want to help them. And now they think of you as someone, you have elevated status when you do those things, okay? So your network. Now, on the entrepreneurial side, this is paramount to success because you're fundamentally capped by the number of people who are aware of you. Like, you can't grow if you don't have more people becoming aware of you. It's impossible. So marketing is really the exponent that allows you to just get bigger way faster as long as you're communicating, again, quality to the right people. Now, the problem with this is most people don't actually define who their dream client is. They think they have, but because they watched like a really bad presentation or they heard they need to do it and then they say like small business or they say, you know, service businesses, and that's not a niche. But when you have this working for you, when you're growing this in the right direction, you essentially have infinite chances to get it right, because that gives you more opportunities to practice your skills on sales and pricing and delivery. You have infinite chances to win the game of entrepreneurship when your network is growing at all times. So those are the 5, and just as a quick summary here, right, it's number 1, you got to master the superpower focus. What are you saying no to? And you're saying no to a lot of things. So just be intentional that like, I'm saying no to this, I'm staying focused on this. There's a great book called Turning Pro. Pros, they say no to basically everything other than their skill and craft. Same thing's true here. Number 2, master imposter syndrome. It's very common for entrepreneurial accountants or just accountants in general to feel like I'm not good enough. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably true. You're not good enough today, but no duh, that's true for everybody. So recognize it's true. Where are you going? Don't pretend to be a fraud. Just recognize it and be like, I'm going to change my actions today to align with the person I want to be in the future. It's just a statement of truth. Number 3, grow your skill set. You can't make more money if you have the same skills that you had 10 years ago. If anything, the skills that you had 10, 15 years ago, they're almost irrelevant today, right? Like the people in 2010 who were still doing all their accounting on the there's those blue books, those green books. I forgot the color right now, but you're like, there's this thing called the internet, computers, cloud, like even just leveling the skill set of how you do the work is important, let alone learning new skills that are aligned with who you want to be. And of course, entrepreneurial skill sets, depending if that's your what you want to do. Number 4 is your mindset. You got to grow your mindset. If you have the same beliefs you had a year ago about money, about who you are, about who you should be surrounding yourself with, about what you want from the world, right? Like what your dreams are, whether you've realized them, whether you're frustrated, how you think about time itself, like the purpose of being an entrepreneur. These are all beliefs. And then you get better ones, and all of a sudden you change how you act, right? So number 4 is grow your mindset, and number 5 is grow your network. And I saved that one for last because, yeah, it's the toughest for introverts, but that doesn't mean that we can't do it. It doesn't mean that. You grow your network, more importantly, the quality of your network, and you're going to be in a great position to be able to earn more and work less, okay? Now, one last point. I didn't really talk work less, work less, work less. This is everything I covered is hard work, okay? Everything that is worth doing is going to be hard in some way, shape, or form. Sorry. But is it worth it? And let me leave you with this. You have to be good at making trades with your time. What would your future self want from you today? And your future self would probably say, you know what? If you were just willing to have that hard conversation with your boss about raising your salary today, I mean, imagine instead of having that conversation in 12 months or 18 months, okay, if we get a raise of an extra $5,000 a month, we made an extra 60 grand. You might say, that's too big, Tyler. Okay, fine, whatever. Pick the number you want. Same thing. Okay, client, too much work, not enough money, not enough appreciation. People will have that go on for years. They have clients that they haven't raised prices on in years. And I go, okay, what would your future self want right now? Would they want you to put in a little bit of hard work on an awkward conversation so that you can experience the benefit now as opposed to maybe never? And they would say, of course my future self would want that. So perhaps we should be just treating our future selves a little bit more nicely with the actions we do today. And that's what allows you to work less, is stop postponing the obvious things that can be done today for your benefit in the future, and then you'll be able to retire earlier, you'll be able to have a much bigger firm significantly sooner, you'll be able to delegate things much more successfully, and yeah, you may still work a decent amount because that's, I think, work is rewarding, but the type of work you're doing will change, you'll make more, and you'll have the option to work less. And that's what I've got for you today, so thank you so much for your time. I hope it was a good return on investment for it, and remember that only you can make your dream from a reality, but we are here to help you every single step of the way. Have a fantastic rest of your workday, and I will see you on the next video.